Hey guys, so we're gonna do a very important reading tonight. It's just coming in the news as of now, as of the last maybe 30 minutes. So it's about to pick up momentum. Just be prepared. It's gonna pick up momentum. Anyway, it's looking like the newspaper, the Politico, somehow, and I don't think they're saying how, got a hold of a leaked document from the Supreme Court, a draft. They've already voted, and it's to overturn Roe versus Wade and Casey, which basically strengthens it. So, a few things here. Yes, I'm kind of shocked. I am yet not. I am yet not. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Roe versus Wade overturned.
According to Wikipedia, Roe versus Wade, 410 U.S. 113, was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution
somehow
of the
this
United
got
States protects a pregnant
leaked.
woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction.
So, I mean, people, it looks like there was just an article 8 days ago that, and we know they've been looking at it, especially with, a Republican majority. There's been, and all these cases coming to them, because when they get a case, they can look at overturning. But it's, where did it go? There's some draft rulings show Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade report. There's some, just a little bit of articles are kind of popping up in here. There's definitely a plan. Now, some of this, let me go ahead and see. Okay, yeah, some of them, some articles are even an hour. Now, this is just starting. It's kind of funny. It's kind of, there's not a whole lot of articles on it, but there is a leaked document here. So, and I have a feeling this may not be a rumor here. They've been talking about overturning it. Now, about 7 months ago, I did do a read on it. I did do a read on this, and there's a couple things. I was like, I have to admit, when I do it, you'll have to see the Texas and Roe versus Wade. I kind of struggled with that read I did. When I start talking about Roe, if it could really be overturned. The end, I was like, I don't think they can do it. But I looked at the read though, because sometimes it's like, check your cards. If you're not sure of something, my end card was the tower though. And I struggled with that as the outcome. Okay. Which could be the crumbling, throwing out the thing like, and that would be a big crumbling, obviously in this country. And I struggle with that. And one of the things I said is, I hope this means they will throw out some of these things that they're bringing to the Supreme Court. But I have to admit there was a fear there, but I also drew the oppression card. Okay. I also did ask about Biden packing the courts, and I got a no on that. It's kind of weird though. There's something going on with my Google though. Let me try something. The Politico and Roe versus Wade. Yeah, the Politico is there, but I noticed not too many are talking about it just yet. But somehow they got a hold of this draft, and they are starting to talk about it. So a couple things here, but they're starting to come out that they're saying it's intended. Now, it is not done yet. Okay, it's not set in stone yet. But this is what we're going to look at. Is it actually going to get struck down and stuff? This draft opinion has come out, and it's a document. I don't know how it got leaked. Now, there's some people are saying Not on my watch. It's that there. It's just kind of getting crazy here. So, yeah, we need to look at this. But I did go back and look over the cards I got for that. And I do kind of stop myself, and I'm like, damn, the tower. And I think I started getting, I will admit, and all tarot readers can do that. Sometimes our hopes, our fears can get into the way of something, of me. We certainly can. And I do see that, like I said, we're not perfect, we're human. Okay. The tower should tell me that yeah, Ro is in fucking trouble. Okay. That, especially if I'm asking about that. You know, and everything like that, especially also the card oppression popping up, the oppression of women. I'm a little more clear-headed now, in the sense that I know, I gotta do this reading, that I gotta be like, don't let your hopes shit get in the way here, that you wouldn't want to see this done. Now, let me just talk a little bit about stuff. A very long time ago, this is way back, this is even more pre my awakening. I went through a period, just like many of you went through, but I actually was very, what am I going to say? I wrestled and I struggled because, I still consider myself spiritual, but I do not consider myself completely awakened, in the sense, things like that. But I question, the moral and ethics and things like that about abortion and if it should be legal or not. I kind of went through a period of that, of this, if this should, be a thing. I was a mother at the time when I actually did this to do kind of investigating. So I was actually a mother at the time. I don't know, something made me kind of need to kind of investigate this, for myself, to view both sides of the equation. Now, this is just for my own field. Okay. Because it is a difficult thing. And after doing it, I'm not going to rehash a whole lot because I want to get to the read, because I know you guys want to get to that. But just, I came to the conclusion, really, that nobody likes abortion. And we should do everything in our power, to do things to stop it, unwanted pregnancies from happening in the first place. Whatever humanly possible. Get that out there, birth control, things like that. Now, obviously, education in the home is the most critical thing we can do, for our young people. Most critical thing we could do. Now, obviously, pregnancies can happen in the home. Okay. And then, and things like that. But, so the young was especially my concern, is young people, they're just, having forced to birth, incest, rape, I looked at there are definitely, times of necessity that, with situations. The other thing, risk to life, the pro-life movement tries to put this as some kind of rarity, that, a pregnancy of a woman is little to no risk. Horse shit. Okay, I even know that with my second pregnancy and stuff. I had a very high risk pregnancy, guys, and I think this is also one of the reasons I kind of wrestled with it. Okay, because I had my first pregnancy was okay, though towards the end he started squeezing on the cord, so I had to have a C-section. But the second one, I had placenta previa, and I had all kind of other problems. Okay, so I had to be put on bed rest in about 7 months, where I basically had to do little to no, like walking, moving around, definitely lifting, things like that, and everything. I did end up in the hospital at one point where the placenta, I was in the hospital overnight. I remember getting up in the morning. I was in the hospital room, because I was spotting. But I just walked from the bed to the sink to brush my teeth, and my placenta went like that and went gush. Okay, luckily not the whole thing, and luckily they were able to stabilize me. But I was paranoid and terrified and everything. So it was a lot of risk. It was a risk to me and a risk to baby. Obviously, it was both. It was both. We made it. We made it. She had to be born early, but we made it. So I do understand that there are risks involved. That was another thing I looked at. There was a lot to me when I weighed the situation. To me, there was more reasons for than not that it needs to be legal. It needs to be between, woman and doctor. And government is not doctor qualified. They're not doctors. Okay, there are certain situations, and I know there could be. I do not want to judge anybody, but maybe somebody, they get pregnant and they're just, I don't want a kid, And there's a very small segment of people who use it as a form of birth control, and most people don't want to go through that. Okay, but I do look, at the same time though, the issues that also could come from unwanted pregnancies. Now, when it comes to, of course, later term things and things like, yeah, of course, that, a lot of us are not for that. Okay, but certain things like in the first 3 months is that, and everything was just a little, zygote thing. If we could stop, if people, especially young people, yeah. So, but I ultimately included, it needs, these things, these decisions need to be between doctor and the woman. And the woman and the doctor, the woman who is pregnant and so forth, because this is a medical type of issue. And also certain things, like if certain laws impede a situation, where, like a situation that a woman, could potentially die because of a situation and so forth, certain things like that, that would be a very terrible thing. Okay. The other thing, of course, if it is, made illegal and things like that, the back alley abortionists would definitely go right back to business. Okay, they would definitely go right back to business, and the risk of death is very, very high. Unsanitary conditions, things like that, not well trained, all kinds of stuff. There's a whole lot there, that would definitely go wrong. Okay, but that's my own personal thing. But I really did. I read many articles. I talked to people. I talked to groups. I talked to both sides. I got to know people on both sides. I mean, I really went out there to try to educate myself. I didn't want to just be on one side or another. I was at a point where I was definitely on the fence about a lot of things. And there are still some areas that I would probably still maybe be on the fence, just like I said, late term and this, that, yeah. Absolutely. But I don't, and I deem myself, I just don't have the right to dictate my own personal beliefs, be it, in any kind of morals, my values, my religious, or whatever it can be on another person's life. I don't have that right, especially if me doing that could actually jeopardize their life. Okay, if me could impact their life in some negative kind of way. And things like that. There's so many things, okay, that can go wrong with that. And that's where I was like, this just needs to be left into the hands. And if there's any kind of situation where, okay, let's just say, I'm not saying it's true, but let's just theoretically, some of you may believe it, some of you may not. Let's just say God's against it. Like, nope, I do not like it at all. Okay, let's just say that's the case. Let's just theoretically pretend. Okay. And stuff, and then let that be with that woman, that doctor, and that God. Okay, it's not my business to be an instrument of, some kind of God karma to another person in a case like that. Does that make sense? Okay, it's just not my business. That's between her and God. Okay, that's between the doctor who does these things and God. That's all that. But it's not my business. Okay, that's my field. And government people are not qualified. They're not doctors. There might be some who maybe practice medicine. There might be a handful, maybe a few, but they're not doctors. Okay, they're not qualified to make medical decisions. So what this basically would impact, of course, by wiping it out, of course, the states and the people of the states would be able to set the rules, the laws, the rules. These would be based on that. Okay, and basically your government would be making medical decisions for these women. Okay, and this is a very dangerous thing. Now, in no other real situation that I know of, except maybe assisted suicide or something, does government have a right to make certain medical decisions for people? But in this case, they would. This is what they basically be doing. They're taking over, and telling doctors what they can and cannot do. And so, say if you have a situation, a doctor, this is what have to be done to save a woman's life or something. He might not be able to do that. Hands tied, would be breaking the law, could be put in jail for 10 years or something. Okay, so this is where the government's taking over. So you can see the danger in this, right? And this is another, of course, one of the big reasons why I just can't be pro-life. Okay, so it's a lot. It's a lot. So man, I'm very heavy-headed as I do this read. But yeah, I did look back on that read, and and I definitely, I can see myself. It's like I was looking at it, and I'm like, you were wrestling with it, weren't you? You got the tower, and your ego, not ego, but little self is the best way to put it. My little self, got in the way of what my higher self looks like was trying to say. But I'm not there yet, though, 100%. This is not done yet. Okay, it's not over, said and done yet. But this does look like a shadow of something that is in the works. And so unless something, we got to see, could something potentially stop it or whatever. Okay, and I don't know what could possibly at this point. Okay, and like I said, I know in that reading, I did come up to, I got number 9 there. It's like, it doesn't look like Biden's going to pack the courts here. Okay, it just doesn't look, it's like he doesn't want to play that way. And, that may be at the cost of some things here. So we're going to do it an important one. This will be one of the more important reads I've done. Is it true with this article, with this kind of draft? Remember, it is a draft. It's not, they have not done their big whole thing, that Roe versus Wade is going to be overturned. I'm going to focus on within the next month or two, though they were talking about even June. I will extend it to 2 months. So, but yes, if you look at it, I definitely did struggle with that read. Just like I said, I saw it there. I'm like, I got the tower, had oppression, certain things, and it's like I struggled with that, because there was a point, if you guys saw, I was like, oh no, this is not good and stuff. And then, but I feel like my, kind of some of my fears, my hopes, this can't be happening, getting in the way. And no, I don't think it. So we just, now I'm going to clear that out of the way. And I just got to be open-minded for what the Spirit has to say here. Okay. So no matter what. Okay, so I just kind of go ahead and look. But expect a lot of articles and a lot of news coming up because of this. It's going to pick up momentum. Because as soon as I saw just the one YouTube popped up as I was surfing them, I went, uh-oh. Okay. Okay, here we go. I'm almost nervous to look, guys. I have to admit, I'm very nervous. Okay, we got the strife card. Okay. So we can definitely see the Supreme Court. This is kind of the battle, but this is also the battle, really, the strife. This is not just the Supreme Court here. This is the battle between pro-life and pro-choice. This is 50 years in the making here. This has been a battle. They have been at odds for a long time. We know that. The conflict, the battle, the strife, the trying to get one up on each other's side this whole time. It's exhausting. And really even the strife of the struggle of women, in this country. A lot of it right now. And you're going to see a lot of strife coming out, over the next coming days, weeks, and everything. Okay, so we've got the emperor. Oh, the patriarchy. Okay, the emperor, the father of tarot, the patriarchy is what this really kind of represents. Okay, and this is a big thing here. This is a big thing. That a lot of women, women have always just been really, women are, equal rights and things like that. But there definitely is, conservative Christians and trying to get, the patriarchy and all that stuff have been trying to get the upper hand. And this is also the god of war, so I also am going to look at it at that angle, as well as that this also represents a war. Okay, that has been going on. We are at war. Okay, this is what's going on. So let's kind of go ahead and look at that. Got the Justice card, which is also the adjustment card in the Thoth deck. Okay, so we've got a couple things. That's what we're focusing on, the Supreme Court and everything. We've got the Knight of Discs. I'm tuning in here. Let me kind of focus. Obviously, that is about, like work, effort, proposal, all those kind of things. Just, things that they're working on right now with these drafts and with Roe and everything. They are presently at work on it, okay? Going through ideas and so forth, plans. So then we've got the Queen of Wands kind of popping up in here. To me, the Queen of Wands really represents, as the Queen of Wands can be very powerful. She's very independent. She is a leader. I feel she kind of represents, women, especially of the movement, standing up for their rights and so forth, having some kind of power. Okay, as a Queen of Wands can be very powerful, even over the body and so forth. But let's kind of go ahead and look at the fourth one there. Yep, we've got the Works card here. Okay, which could represent certain teamwork card, handshake deals, agreements, and so forth. And a lot of this is going on and everything. So this can be, people collaborating, coming up with a plan and so forth. Definitely we've got that going on. Okay, justice and all this stuff. Let's go ahead and see. It's a tough one, guys. Now, I do have the card Truce popping up in here. Now, to me, though, the Truce card, they've never had a truce. Okay, they've never had a truce. That's, of course, would be the goal, right? If the battle could stop and so forth and everything like that. A truce to me, normally, though, I feel the reason why it's coming up here is normally, the battle, the two sides don't like each other. Okay, when I see a truce, but maybe kind of the war has paused, but it's not completely ended. Both sides agree to stop, going at it and things like that. We had a period, I would say we've had periods of that over time and everything, but everything has always gone on. The strife has always been there. There's a card sticking up. The Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups can represent the home, the family, and so forth, the family unit and so forth. And obviously, that there are those, especially certain patriarchy or Christians or things like that, have ideas of what a family should be, what it should look like. And I know that's a big thing going on in the way of the world today. There should be male, female, and little kids, and that should be what a family looks like. There's a lot of challenges to that. A lot of people, worry whether there's, same-sex marriages or, just all that stuff. But I feel a lot of that is this is their vision of what a family should be like. Okay. Especially a family with children, as often the Ten of Cups does depict children, and so forth. And then the 9 card, the gain card. Now, the 9, for me, in my last read, represented the 9 justices, okay, that we got there. Let's go ahead and look. Now, we do have the 8 of Swords. This is also the interference card. So, definitely, there are things interfering. one of the things about it, most of you know, with the Eight of Swords card, very often shows a woman. She is bound, she is blindfolded, and she is surrounded by the swords. She's kind of trapped in a situation. Though she, can technically break free. But I feel what it is kind of saying, though, is there is an attempt here to bind and trap, a woman, in being able to control her body. I feel is what Spirit says. And there's interference. They're interfering with her body, anonymity, sovereignty here. Okay, choices and decisions, being able to make that. So that actually is very fitting. For those who may, and I know my tarot readers know what the card looks like. Let me get it for those who don't. Sometimes I like to educate you guys. Let me get the old Rider-Waite version here real quick. It will make perfect sense when you see it. This is what the card looks like. So we can see the woman is bound, kind of restricted, and so forth. Okay. Now notice the water at her feet. In this particular case, with the pro-life movement, it's an emotional. It's obviously a spiritual thing to them. Obviously, but it's an emotional thing. The way they feel about the situation. But this is kind of what's happening there. Working on is trying to, you could say bind, trap women from being able to make their choices, restrict, and just like the card says, interfere, okay, with those choices and decisions. I'm very nervous about this read. I could almost shake at this moment. I mean, I could almost shake. So that's why sometimes it's good when I'm working with Thoth. I like to show you guys that, yes, this came up in the last read, oppression. The oppression is coming, guys. They've been working on it for a while, but it looks like it's coming. It's sad to say, the oppression. Okay, this is a big thing. The interference, the oppression, the woman bound is clearly in my read here, and this is very disheartening. I mean, I could almost throw up here. And then we've got the magician that is popping up, and the magician can represent sometimes lawyers and things like that for me in court cases and things. Man, we'd almost need a miracle for this one. This is a tough one, especially, but we all kind of knew. I felt like, especially with Amy Coney Barrett, when she ended up on the court, okay, I definitely was very concerned. A lot of people are hopeful with the star. They're hoping, that somehow something could possibly change. Let's go to the outcome. Okay. Yeah, a couple things here. Now, the two cards that are popping up were the Wheel of Fortune and the Success card. Now, the only thing I know, we would look at the Wheel of Fortune in the positive, right? And so forth. The Success, I feel this is more, what I'm kind of feeling here is more of a couple things here. Is the Success card is also, a Taurus card. And also the Wheel of Fortune card is also a Jupiter card. It is Jupiter. And Jupiter is doing some things right now, that are happening kind of in the universe. But I look at, will they be able to overturn Roe? I have to look at the answer. The Success card makes me feel they will be successful overturning Roe. The Wheel of Fortune, I look at is like it's turning into a certain direction, that it's, obviously with them, they would consider this a good thing. But I feel the Wheel of Fortune actually has a little bit to do with the astrological element that is happening right now with Jupiter, which a lot of changes are coming, with this. So, a matter of fact, if I could see, what is Jupiter conjunct right now? Venus and Jupiter are conjunct 3 days ago. It might, I believe it still is. And there are some things popping up in here. So there's some few, yeah, and there's also, there was some weird, we just had like some line ups and everything that just occurred. Look at, I mean, it looks like it would take a miracle for this to be stopped, to be honest, and stuff. So, go ahead and see. Especially with seeing the interference, the oppression, women and things like that. Let's go ahead and see here. The Lady, of course, shows, which is about women. Okay, popping up here. And I look at the Tower. One of the things the card says, a lone tower stands, confident and secure, grounded in strength, in all that's pure. When troubles surround, weakness may come. Problems that abound, you must overcome. So definitely, I feel like even Spirit is kind of saying that to all women. The thing is, though, and we've got the unopened book. So right now the thing is, the document leaked. Okay, with certain things, there's certain pages to this document, but we do have the book popping up in here. We've got the cross. Here comes suffering. Okay, here comes suffering. And then the gentleman card. Okay, with certain things like, when we look at like the patriarchy and so forth. But the cross for suffering. Okay, which also can represent even the religious right and so forth. And the book even also could be construed with the Bible, that they're looking at certain things in a biblical sense here. So with the success card, it looks like, I would say that's probably looking more, obviously I'm looking at, will Roe be overturned? With the success card, that's making me feel and lean more that they're going to be successful in doing it, which is, I know, would be quite shocking here that this even happens. And of course, what things would come. Now, a lot of things, would happen as far as the states are the one, that rule. Now, the one thing is, I believe not all states, of course, would eliminate, especially Democratic states and stuff. But it would put this, the power would go to the state level. But all of this is just going to open the door, for many court cases going forward. Yeah, and even, I hate to say it, even kind of looking at the Kipper, we've got despair and poverty, popping up, that certain things could happen, with this, as far as, certain things that could happen with certain, families and so forth, certain families. Now, this card, this is really weird. When I picked up the deck, I accidentally left one sitting down. I just looked at it and I'm like, oh, I didn't grab that card, which is making me kind of take notice, which also would fit well with the Eight of Swords. Okay, remember the woman is also bound, but this card is popping up here. So that seems to be affirming that there's going to be some of this to come, guys. The imprisonment card. The Eight of Swords could also sometimes, in fact, even be symbolic of a jail. So it looks like, and that's one of the big things that would be the worst thing that can happen is with certain things being made illegal. If women get abortions, certain things happen, and that they can be put in jails. They can be put in jails here. Okay, so this is a very difficult time here what it's looking like. But yeah, I did look over my last read, and definitely with that tower, I was like, yeah. But so it does look like it looks like this draft thing is no joke. That's going around in the news right now. Big changes are coming with this. We just need to prepare for that. It's and what is that country? I know they made abortion illegal in some other country, and I can't remember where it was. All the women went out into the streets. I mean, all of them, and I think they ended up changing that law. But there was a big thing. If anybody sees this, remind me what country that was. But there was a country. It's a smaller country. Was it Sweden or something? Somebody they tried to make abortion illegal, and I mean all the women went into the streets, and it was ridiculous. And if this happens, that's what's going to happen, guys. It would be redonkulous that so many women would take to the streets. Can you imagine? Do you think women of this day and age are, especially women that lived back then with Roe, that were older, that are older than me, or other, that have been trying to keep this going, what they will do? Let's look at that. Let's draw like 3 cards for that one. The Empress, the Mother of Tarot. So see, we talked about the Emperor. Okay, and the only one that can really match the Emperor, in some any kind of strength at all, is the Empress. Okay, so yes, women, the women's movement would get, okay, they will be in the streets, and I'll probably be there too. The High Priestess, more feminine power, major arcana, popping up. You would see a movement of women like no other. This is coming. This is coming, okay? And the Ace of Wands, though, this could be an opportunity to make a serious statement. Now, as far as what everything is going, I would say this movement's about, especially with this thing leaking and stuff. Be ready. This is happening before it's all said and done. Okay, this is coming here. You're gonna see it tonight, tomorrow. It's beginning. Okay, the Empress is going to try to start stepping in. High Priestess, Empress energy here combined, stepping into power. Okay, it's going to get real vocal real fast. Real vocal real fast. People have been fearing this and worried about this with all these other states trying to do stuff. But it's looking big, and apparently I haven't read the draft. It's a big one, but they're trying to say, oh, we made a mistake. Oh, 50 years later, you made a mistake, really? Okay. It's crazy. So I do something's coming though. So it does look like this is happening. This is happening, and I don't know if you guys realize, especially for you young people, how historical something like this is. Just how this would change. This has been the protector for so long. And it's up how historical that this is and everything. But yeah, I was just looking back at that and everything, and just the tower, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. When I did that. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to be overturned and stuff. And they're talking about by June. So, but you're going to see women. There's going to be a rise of women that's coming like no other, like you have not seen. Okay, you have not seen it. And that's just, you saw it, just like when I focus on it, what's coming with the women. There's the Empress, and the one we talked about, the Emperor energy, that patriarch energy, that, God of War energy. Here comes the Empress. Okay, the divine masculine and feminine is about to have strife. See what happens.